Good evening, friend. So I'm gonna do something that I don't usually do because, well, we actually got some blockbuster events that happened yesterday. Blockbuster news, that is. So I'm gonna do differently this time, as because we actually have four articles on what's been happening. We're gonna get more information, more details, because this is the juicy parts. This is the stuff that you're here for, right? And I'm here for you to not skip a beat. I'm here so that if you don't speak French, I read these articles for you. I don't summarize it and in three sentences. I translate it word for word. So it's as if you're holding a newspaper in your hands and at the same time trying to, how you say, cross different storylines that happened in the past that we've covered and put it all together as best as I can, in my ignorance. But yeah, let's get down to business, my friend. Let's do this. We got Adam's family, Rogers, in the house. What's up, Adams? So let's check this out, man. Here we go. So we got our first article here. Ryan Wedding, ex-Olympian, Canadian Olympian. Quote, he's the Pablo Escobar of modern times. That's a big statement to make. Let's see what this video is going to say. Sorry, it might blow your ears off. I'm going to have to lower the volume in a sec. Because we don't have the same volume level. You see 30% there. For me, it's like 5. I can barely hear it. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? So whatever's low for me is not low for you, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't want to offend anybody with the volume. Hopefully this is good for you.
You do not get to be a drug kingpin and evade the law. Make no mistake about it. Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar.
Holy.
He's a modern-day iteration of El Chapo Guzman.
Jesus.
This Justice Department and this FBI will work with our Canadian counterparts and the government officials across the world to bring him to justice. He is responsible for engineering a narco-trafficking and narco-terrorism program that we have not seen in a long time.
Imagine that. He's giving this title. These are Americans, the big boys, right? The big boys. Their economy is way bigger than ours. They have way more people than us. They have way more storylines going on. And have you ever heard them ever call anybody inside their own country the modern day Pablo Escobar? And this is not a guy who's writing a book here, who's trying to sensationalize it so that he can sell books and become a celebrity. This is literally the Trump administration. The guy they picked, I forgot what title he has. It's for like what was it, the Homeland Security or something along those lines, Department of Justice. I don't remember, But this is Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi. You can't make this stuff up. This is huge. So a Canadian, just put this into perspective, guys. A Canadian, like this, how they used to say, oh, Canada's soft. Canada, nothing happens in Canada. They used to make fun of us. They used to say, oh, Canadians, they live in igloos. You remember that? They always make jokes. The Americans did. I'm not like my friends here, and I don't wish them any bad, just to speak. But they always made us sound like we were pansies, But here you have Kash Patel. First time ever they're calling someone the modern day Pablo Escobar, making a big deal out of this. Did you ever hear anything like that in America, calling their own something like this? This is huge. Let's continue.
He will not evade justice.
Wedding is also accused of murdering a federal witness after he was indicted in 2024.
Now, just to be clear, so for those who don't know, because I did not know, maybe I heard it, but I don't have a good memory. I have too many storylines, but I should have. If I did, I should have remembered. But I don't think I heard about it. I heard it, in my opinion, it was first time last night. Someone posted a message in the comments. And he said a very detailed comment, very helpful. And he didn't blow up any secrets or anything like that. I'm assuming that he found out through public channels, because I don't like to get anyone in trouble. I don't want anyone to do that. But it's here, so he must have heard it through these public channels. And he said that, you remember yesterday we were reading about Atna Onas being arrested, and it's in link with a murder, and the murder they were talking about was Abredo Garcia, that Colombian from Montreal who was part of a Colombian cane trafficking ring or something. Do you remember that? And I told you that last year or earlier this year, That guy was in Colombia, and he got assassinated at like a coffee shop or a restaurant or some public place. And now here's the kicker. What the guy posted in the comments said. He said that Mr. Abredo Garcia was a witness. I said an informant. He had turned quote, and that's why he was killed. That's what the guy posted yesterday. And here you have Pam Bondi talking. Notice she didn't say Abredo Garcia, but I'm telling you that so now you can all put it all together. It could make more sense for you. So that's who she is talking about.
In 2024. He used in 2024,
My apologies.
accused of murdering a federal witness after he was indicted in 2024. He used a Canadian website called The Dirty Newz to post photographs of the witness and his wife.
Wow.
To locate him, which ultimately succeeded.
Oh my God, this stuff. You guys just hear what she just said? The website, I don't want to say the word. It's going to get me in problems with YouTube. You can't use that D word. So the website that she just named, that's one of the people that I've been telling you, go check the website. They covered Vancouver gangland stuff very well. They have like clever, they are in communications with different gangsters in Colombia. It's a website, and I think I know it's connected to Mr. DJ Academics, who once upon a time gave a shout out to me in a comment. I was appreciated. But anyways, DJ Academics, he opened a website and he hired writers. He once kindly suggested that I should write. I'm not a good writer. I would screw up your thing, bro. I didn't want to mess you up. You deserve high quality. But that website, it's killer. For British Columbia, the guy absolutely nails it. He has people, and they receive messages from different gangsters in the scene, people that he writes articles about them, and those guys contact him, and they sort of use his platform. I've noticed, they sort of use his platform to diss their enemies. They're like trying to use the guy's website for their own benefit, And I'm not gonna how you say sugarcoat it. The guy, I don't know. It's all a mystery to me. Who's writing the stuff or who's doing the who's working for the website? I have no clue, But you can read when the guy writes his articles that he goes through. He's willing to do mischievous. Is that how you say mischievous? He's willing to go about in mischievous ways. So he sort of lure people in that he doesn't necessarily like that much, And he will, how you say, he might even turn on them later on. I think I've seen articles where he wrote where he was like in communication with gangsters, and then that you could tell he sort of didn't like them. And then after the fact, when it blew up in their face, he like, okay, I'm going to expose these guys. I sort of remember something like this happening, But it's very entertaining when you watch. It's like how you say, it's raw entertainment, It doesn't get better than that, But anyhow, she just said that they used the website. That's freaking crazy. Let's re-listen to what she just said. So check this out. Listen to this.
He used a Canadian website called The Dirty Newz to post photographs of the witness and his wife in order to locate him, which ultimately succeeded.
Now that's my question. How does Pam Bondi know that Ryan Wedding is the one who sent the photos to be put on the website? Now, I haven't checked that website for a while, maybe 2-3 months, but usually I try to check it every 3 or 4 months for my own entertainment, And so I don't know, maybe they wrote an article, they posted it, and they said, yeah, Ryan Wedding sent us this. I'd be surprised if they actually said that, Maybe that's how she knows. But I'm putting out there if anyone has any idea, because now, how does Pam Bondi know that it was Ryan Wedding that sent the photos there and then it was, what I'm saying? How did she know that? But I guess someone may have told, maybe there was an informant somewhere who said this is what really happened. I don't know. But let's keep going. So they used that in order to, damn, that's really crazy, huh? So now we've approached like our YouTube realm. When I say YouTube, they have a website, but I'm pretty certain the guy who writes the articles for the website, I'm pretty certain he had a YouTube channel. I forgot the name, so I can give you the link to go check out his YouTube. But he does the Vancouver Gangs stuff. So if you just check YouTube Vancouver Gangs or something, you're gonna fall into their channel. I'm pretty certain that was his channel before they launched the website. It's crazy that this storyline now includes basically YouTubers. A YouTuber is part of this huge plot now. It's freaking crazy. I would have never guessed in 100 years.
Photographs of the witness and his wife in order to locate him, which ultimately succeeded. The witness was gunned down in a restaurant in Medellin before he could testify against Wedding. Today, we're unsealing a new indictment, charging Wedding with 2 additional counts of witness tampering and intimidation, murder, money laundering, and drug trafficking.
Damn, man. Crazy stuff, man. All right, let's see what... So, yeah, let me see. Yeah, this is a summary. Okay, let's see. What we must know, it says here. They called him the Pablo Escobar. We just saw that. Him and many accomplices are accused of killing an informant. We just heard about that. That was about to testify against Wedding. Got it. In total, 7 Canadians, one of which is a gang boss chief, Atna Ona, who was arrested in this huge investigation. The investigation's name is Giant Slalom. What does slalom mean? That's freaking crazy anyway. It's crazy to me that we're here with Kash Patel, Pam Bondi. Who would have thought the Montreal underworld Newz saga would cross paths with the Trump administration? You can't make this stuff up, man. So sorry, I'm just trying to skip some parts here. It's not a repeat. So the reward is they said the reward is $10 to $15 million to get Mr. Wedding. It went from 10 to 15 million. They increased it by 50%. So the United States on the trail of our bandits in Canada. Ryan Wedding, always on the run, is a narco trafficker international protected by the Sinaloa cartel. We are speaking about the highest level of organized crime. Yeah, seven Canadians are charged, or there's warrants for them. They were apprehended. Actually, it says they were, apprehended. My apologies. In this FBI investigation. All of them are waiting extradition to the state of California. One Montrealer who is close. Wait a second. Oh, okay. One Montrealer hitman who is a close friend of Atna Ona, Mr. Tommy DeMorizi, is still wanted by the FBI. So here's the guy right here. And you see his charges there. There's numerous. Tommy DeMorizi. Is this the guy who went and did it? Is it possible? Because I doubt that Mr. Atna Ona took a plane to Colombia and did the job himself. So I would expect that he got someone from his circle to do it. Is this the guy that they're looking for? Is Tommy DeMorizi the guy who went there, And it wouldn't be far-fetched. You look at him, I could see him looking like a Colombian, He could maybe pass off, maybe based off this picture. It'll be easier for him to go there. But who knows? It could be him. Could be. Where are we here? America always gets his guys, says Bill Isali, a prosecutor. All right, we're going to skip all that. Let's see. Yeah, they're just repeating this again. It says Ryan Wedding, who once lived in Montreal, is at the head of a violent organization of trafficking stupefires established in Mexico. Charged with transporting big quantities of Colombian cane. Cane from Colombia towards Central America and Mexico, and from Mexico to the United States and then Canada. Every year, Wedding sends 60 tons of cane to the United States. Illustrated the Mrs. Pam Bondi. 60 tons of cane. Crazy. Let's see if we can skip some part. Yeah, this is all repeats. Sorry about that. The cane enterprise of Wedding is worth billions of dollars. It is the largest one in Canada, according to documents made public on Wednesday. It operates in numerous countries, one being Colombia. Damn. The substance is tested and managed by paramilitary peoples and the cartel. Offing in Medellin. One of the enemies was Jonathan Acevedo Garcia, an ex-Montrealer who was in the organization of Wedding. He had accepted to collaborate with the FBI against him. Wow. Thanks to his accomplices in numerous countries, including a woman in Colombia who had contacts with cartels and authorities who were able to track cell phones, Wedding organized the murder of his ex-colleague, assassinated, or worker, or whatever, assassinated by a hitman on a motorbike in Medellin on the 31st of January. Damn. There you have it. Now, I don't know what this is. Oh, it's the brick probably, right? Close to 140 bricks of cane coming from the organization of Wedding. So you see what it looks like. This is it. Now look at it. I guess this is the plot. They're describing the plot a little bit in detail. A woman had as a goal to attract the victim to the desired location. In exchange for that favor, the organization of Wedding would have paid off her mortgage, as well as paid her a surgery, a plastic surgery, basically. She's one of those dolls, who got swallowed up by the modern day social media. You know what I'm saying? Women who basically are all that do a lot of it's monkey see, monkey do in this generation. So yeah, that's two things she wanted: her mortgage paid off and BBL, basically. Let's see what else we got here. According to the FBI, Wedding would have celebrated this offing, and that he was celebrating that he would get away with it since the main witness he no longer exists. Now, the chief of gang, Atna Ona, would have helped to organize this offing. He would have demanded the payment of $300,000, and at the end of that, he actually got a necklace, a diamond necklace or a diamond bracelet. I'm not too sure. I think it's a bracelet. I think doesn't matter. It's a diamond jewelry. So he wanted $300,000. What he did get was a diamond jewelry, $150,000, and the equivalent of $500,000 of cane after completing the job. So seems like he got a lot more value from this. He demanded, or did he actually get? Yeah, it looks like he asked $300,000, but instead he got half of that in cash. He got the bracelet and $500,000 worth of cane. Crazy. Now you see, now they're talking about the Canadian website. Oh man, now the cops are definitely gonna be scanning your website, dude. And oh my God, the D Newz. I don't know where you're going to go from now on, man. I don't know how you're going to be doing this anymore. There's no chance in hell now that you're just going to be a fringe website. Now, from now on, any of those people you're talking to who are communicating with you and all that, they're going to be spooked. And if they're not spooked, they're really stupid, and I'm not blaming you for anything. It's just you got the attention from the FBI, the RCMP, the authorities. If you didn't have it before, if they didn't take you serious enough before, now they're damn serious. Wouldn't be surprised if they're monitoring you now. They're going to try to monitor the servers you're using. I don't know how they do this stuff, your emails. I don't know how they do any of that, but just by checking the articles that you write, dude, and the people you're communicating with, it's not about what the articles you're writing necessarily. It's the fact that the articles are based off you speaking to all these people and receiving coded messages and all that, Now, I'm reading the website. You are dealing with a lot of dummies. So a lot of them will be just way too stupid, and it will probably keep going with you. So you're probably still good. But anyone with a brain would be spooked right now, completely spooked of continuing that. But it's a shame for the viewers that were being entertained. It's a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity to be entertained. So yeah, if you haven't checked the website, you got to go check that right now. Just Google it. Simple as that. So what are they saying about this? Says that the website. Wow, okay, look at that. The website would have received the money from Wedding to help track the rats that accepted to collaborate with the police. The website would have notably had circulated the photo of this individual. So you guys, there you go, man. I'm quite disappointed to hear this, actually, that you actually decided to help these people, to involve yourself. You're supposed to just be covering news, man, and maybe create a little bit of entertainment, speak on one side and report. But you took it too far. You took it way too far. If you were in America right now, you would be probably charged in the RICO. I don't know if they can actually do that to you, because the way they're describing this, you were part of the plot. You're definitely part of the plot. I'm pretty shocked to read this. But yeah, I told you guys, I didn't even know that this happened until just now, this moment. So when I said they were mischievous, you see, I'm surprised they were way more than mischievous. Man, can't believe you guys went that route. Highly disappointing, man. Yeah, the money was just too good. But that's what that's what I was telling you guys. This is me personally, You cannot, unless that's who you are, But the problem with the world is too many people will sell out for money. They'll do anything for money. They'll throw everything. They'll throw the bath out. They'll do it, But you gotta be able, maybe if you want, but there's gotta be limits to life. Can't do everything for money. There has to be a limit. But looks like they didn't. There was no limit for the website. That's highly disappointing to hear that, But let's keep reading here. A corrupt lawyer. According to proof deposed in court, the organization of Wedding was counting on the services of a corrupt lawyer, like this lawyer, particularly motivated, of which his role was hugely important. This lawyer from Ontario, Deepak Paradkar. So we have an Indo-Canadian here, a Deepak. And something tells me, I'm not racist, but something tells me that the guy behind the Newz who's writing the articles, he's also Indo-Canadian. Something just tells me that, But responding directly to Ryan Wedding, so this lawyer was directly responding to Ryan Wedding. Wait a second. Okay, let me just reread this so I can get what's really going on here. Okay, I see. So he used this lawyer. I don't know how this works, but he used this lawyer in order to gain access to data or information. Who had access to warrants or searches or I think like criminal investigations or something like that on chauffeurs, drivers, and circumstances in the case of seizures of cargo of cane by authorities, and to procure Mr. Wedding new lines of transportation, and to pay lawyers in Canada and the U.S. in the objective to know if certain traffickers of the organization were arrested by cops and were cooperating with the authorities. Now that's crazy. So what you see here, friend, it's exactly like now this is really disturbing for me, guys. When they say he's like the Pablo Escobar of Colombia, but in Canada, I think that it's not just a hyperbole. Yeah, sure, he does 60 tons. But what differentiates us over here and Mexico and Colombia, and I mean that with respect, I don't mean to denigrate those people, I'm only talking about the criminal side, They infiltrate the justice system. They infiltrate businesses. They infiltrate law enforcement, and they gain a level of sadistic control over the population, and they have this like power of corruption that goes way overboard. And what happens after that is you become, I guess, is that the word narco state? Type of a narco state where it's over, the rule of law is just on the facade, it cannot be applied fully anymore. Now, what I'm seeing here is Ryan Wedding. This is like the first steps, the beginning of getting into this type of dynamic. He's going way too far, he's really trying to, and we don't need this in Canada, but, you know what I'm saying? People are fleeing their countries to flee those corrupt governments, corrupt countries, and I mean that with respect. I apologize. I don't mean to offend people from there, because the normal people. They're victims of this, and that's why they're fleeing their countries. It's really sad, man. But the good part about living in, say, a Canada or an America or a France, and why people want to come here is, despite you're a slave to capitalism, there's still. You don't have to worry about this stuff. This is like the other next level sadism, But yeah, there you go. Ryan Wedding. Here you have proof what would happen. So if you wanted the lesson in this, what I'm trying to tell you, the lesson in this is you could have a Vito Rizzuto type of guy. He seemed to have more morals. He had limits. There's things that he would not do. He wasn't trying to. He wasn't trying to corrupt, he kill everybody, whoever he wanted at any point, He was just trying to run his business, but there was limits, And when you look at people like Ryan Wedding, you could see when they become billionaires, there's a danger. There's a danger to those people, what they could do. And now maybe not, because this is just the beginning. It's just small steps. You know what I'm saying? It's not the full-blown thing, so maybe not. But there's a risk. There's a risk. If you have a full-blown psychopath, you could go there. You remember Maurice Montboucher during the Biker War era? He tried to do that. He was on the sadistic psychopath level. I don't think he reached $1 billion, but at that moment in time, it was a lot of power, and you saw what he tried to do. He wanted to start eliminating people that are working in law enforcement and things like that. We saw that happening, and even reporters. He tried to kill the reporter. You remember Auger, I think his name was. So there's two kinds of people, but the Ryan Wedding so far, this is. It's not just this. It's just if you look at the whole package, you get the idea in the sense that he's going that path. He would go that path if he could. Now, continuing here, in October of 2024, it's his lawyer who advised Wedding and his lieutenant, who became a turncoat of the police, that if Jonathan Acevedo Garcia was eliminated and could not testify in court in the United States, this one would drop all the accusations would drop. After that, Wedding told his lieutenant that he wanted to kill Acevedo Garcia and that he was willing to pay $5 million American to assure that this would be done. And here you have pictures, I guess, of different loads, right? Where are we? Yeah, they were just repeating the same stuff. Okay, in December 2024, the presumed accomplice, Ona, Barrosa Hernandez, were interrogated by investigators of the RCMP. And Paradkar was representing himself as a lawyer, and had after called Barrosa Hernandez to ask them questions on his meeting with the RCMP. This thing is just confusing to read. What are we talking about? Let's just see. The role of Paradkar was equally to find and to conserve the true identities of the drivers, so that these drivers would be forced to reimburse the stupefiers if ever their cargo was seized by the cops. One day, the drivers were arrested in Arkansas, and Ryan Wedding had evoked the possibility to, quote, silence a truck driver, and to, quote, off everybody implicated in this affair. The lawyer had paid for his services with large sums of money, cash, in Toronto, and with luxury watches. The investigators identified Paradkar as an integral member of the operations, the regular operations of this organization, of Mr. Wedding. He was responsible for the introduction of new routes, and he was responsible for the introduction of new routes that were going to allow the organization to transport cane from Los Angeles to Canada. This is facts coming from a sermon, a declaration. Let's say a declaration made in court in a document or something for this investigation. Which they called slalom, I think. Pretty wow. All right, continuing. It's not over, guys. We still got a lot of stuff, so we don't miss anything. All right. Hope the volume is okay. I'll try to translate what he says, all right?
Ona, alias Tupac, a été arrêté ce matin par la GRC à la
He was arrested this morning.
demande du FBI. Il fait maintenant l'objet de...
Wait, what? By the what?
Par la GRC à la demande du
Okay, by the RCMP, by the demand of the FBI.
FBI. Il fait maintenant l'objet d'une demande d'extradition
He's now, there's an extradition order for him
réclamée par le gouvernement américain.
Lui
to the
est
US.
un gars issu du quartier Saint-Michel
This is a guy from the neighborhood of Saint-Michel in Montreal.
qui a son propre groupe, entre autres les Villeray 99. C'est
He has his own crew. They're called Villeray 99. That's the gang.
lui leur chef.
And he's their boss.
Nos sources policières nous affirment que Atna Ona est devenu depuis quelques années l'un des chefs de gang les plus redoutables au Québec grâce à ses alliés.
So he's become one of the most redoubtable gang bosses in the last few years. Or
Il aurait
notorious.
comploté pour faire tuer à distance Jonathan Acevedo Garcia,
So he had plotted to off Jonathan Acevedo by a distance,
un criminel montréalais d'origine colombienne devenu collaborateur avec le
who
FBI.
became a collaborator
Son
with the
meurtre
FBI.
est survenu à Medellín, en Colombie, le 31 janvier dernier.
It happened on the 31st of January 2025.
Garcia était soupçonné d'aider le FBI à retracer le caïd Ryan Wedding.
So he was suspected of helping the FBI, right?
Surnommé le snowboarder, Wedding est un ancien Olympien canadien en planche à neige
He's an
à la
ex-Olympian,
tête d'un réseau de
sorry.
trafic de cocaïne à travers le monde.
Il y a actuellement une grosse enquête dont le snowboarder est la cible.
There's currently a big investigation of which the snowboarder, the Ryan Wedding, is the target.
Qui s'appelle Giant Slalom. Il serait devenu, lorsque les policiers nous parlent, le El Chapo canadien.
Chez
So he's become this, they call him the Canadian El Chapo.
nous, Tupac, comme il aimait se faire appeler, était dans la mire de l'escouade Exaction de la SQ. Il était soupçonné d'être derrière de nombreux crimes.
So already before all of this saga storyline, Mr. Atna Ona was at the crosshairs of our own police, you know, the SQ,
D'extorsion
because of the recent waves of extortion
et d'incendies criminels dans les dernières
and criminal fires.
années. L'un de ses associés, Bobby le Grec,
One of his associates, Bobby the Greek,
a d'ailleurs été récemment tué à Laval.
was recently
Preuve
killed
que
in Laval.
l'opération est majeure. Des gros noms de l'administration Trump, soit Pam Bondi, la procureure générale des États-Unis, et le directeur du FBI, Kash Patel, doivent faire le point mercredi matin à Washington sur l'opération Giant Slalom qui vise rien de moins que le réseau de cocaïne de Ryan Wedding. Le gouvernement américain dispose maintenant de 60 jours pour compléter sa demande d'extradition. Le chef de gang présumé montréalais restera donc détenu en
Wait, what
attendant
did he
son
say?
retour.
My apologies,
Rien
I
de
lost
moins
track
que
of
le
what they
réseau
were
à
saying.
Washington sur l'opération Giant Slalom.
Okay, it's
Rien
just
de
the
moins
same
que le
stuff.
réseau de cocaïne de Ryan Wedding. Le gouvernement américain dispose maintenant de 60 jours pour compléter sa demande d'extradition. Le chef de gang présumé
So the government of America has, I think he says, 60 days for the extradition to happen.
montréalais restera donc détenu en attendant son retour en cours le 25 février prochain.
So he will return in court on the 25th of February.
Ici Pascal Robida, Radio-Canada.
Ooh, so we might get some updates on that, man. Crazy. Now, there was another article. We're probably going to skip most of it if it's a repeat, you know. I'm just trying to see if we didn't miss any extra data information. Yeah, so looking at it, yeah, the repeats here. They're saying that Tupac is, well, finally, Tupac is nothing but one piece of a gigantic puzzle. I bet you got that right. The FBI RCMP suspect him of orchestrating the offing of Jonathan Acevedo Garcia. We got that part. Yeah, they're repeating this stuff. The website with the D News. All right, this is all repeats, I think. Yeah, repeats here. Yeah, we got all those details. Yeah, this is all stuff that we know. All right, I think we're gonna. All right, next one. Now, more details. It would be nice. I always wanted an article like this, but he earned his spotlight. The title is "Who is Atna Ona?" Finally, he deserves his day in the spotlight. You got it, my man. Let's find out who you are, man. The silent ascension of a chief of gang. That's him right there. He climbed the ranks away from prying eyes. Many gangs follow his order. He's leading a war against the mafia and the bikers. He is one of the allies of they're probably referring to Ryan Wedding. Who is Atna Ona, this chief of gang arrested by the request of the FBI, who is now asking to extradite him? A portrait of the secret weapon of organized crime Canadian is what they call him. I wish I didn't use that word. It's going to get my problem with my channel. Now, the name Atna Ona seems new to the public. But he is not for observers or insiders of Canadian organized crime. The 40-year-old man was arrested. We know that. Crazy. Now, look, this is a new... look at this. The 40-year-old man has been pulling strings behind scenes for the last decade. Implicated since the 2010s in the importation of cane. The Montrealer, nicknamed Tupac, risks extradition. Yeah, we know all that part. We're going to skip this. Now, the quote here. he is someone who was underestimated at the beginning. If Ryan Wedding gives you a mission to go off someone in Colombia and you successfully pull it off, it is because you are extremely dangerous and influential. If someone of that caliber confides trust to a Quebec criminal like that, that's never seen before. An analyst for the police says. Here's another quote. He is, or it is, the most well-kept secret of Canadian organized crime. Yeah, it's a he. They're talking about him. He moves in silence. We see him almost never. Indicates to us another source who is not authorized to speak to us through the media. I guess it's a cop. Ona is sometimes called or nicknamed the Phantom or the Ghost because of his discreet character or the way that he moves. Our sources describe him as a man of few words. I forgot. I always have to ask you guys what this means. It's like the fifth time I forget what it means, blindé. He rolls in either it's a, you know what I'm saying? I can't use the word a fireproof vehicle or it's tinted. But I think it's a fireproof vehicle. They're saying he rolls in probably it's a, not fireproof, not the rounds, round-proof, okay? A round-proof vehicle. And he regularly wears that round-proof vest. The protection vest in case someone tries to off you. He owns numerous properties to avoid spending the night in the same location too many days in a row. Confirms a third source, a police source. According to our police contacts, not mine, this newspaper, I'm only translating, Ona and Wedding would be the reason for which the price of a kilo of cane has stayed low in the last few years. Now that's a big freaking statement. But it makes sense if Wedding's transacting that many tons, The police believe that Wedding has been pushing the prices down voluntarily, on purpose, in order to help independent traffickers enter the market. Wow. His goal, what Ryan Wedding's goal, remove traditional organized crime groups or diminish their power on the stupefier market in Canada. Now that's a big one. That's a shocker. I love when we finally get answers revealed, if this is true as to the reason why the price of cane went down. It also explains why there's so many rebellions happening at this moment against the Hells Angels, against all these groups, and why the price of cane is down and why there's so much action going on the streets, It would all link together. You'd say, well, who's supplying all these people? Now, they're making it sound like it's Ryan Wedding. That would make a lot more sense for us. It fits well, It could, I'm continuing to translate, it could be a strategy to create a monopoly, believe certain observers. So it's a hypothesis. Now, he's a gatherer. Ona has founded in the beginning of the 2000s a gang named Black Mafia Clique, BMC. Today is dissolved, no longer exists. It was the first group in Quebec reuniting members of blue and red allegiances together, he says. In this period, Crips and Bloods were not friendly. Here you have an old picture, I guess, from that era. Hard to say what year. But yeah, it actually says Black Mafia Clique picture. Actually does say that, so you can see, and the resolution is low. I'm assuming at now and as this one, the only face that's not blurred. It's got to be him, and it looks like him. Continuing down and translating. Someone's talking here. It's a quote. That attracted the attention of a lot of people because it was impossible to have a blue guy and a red guy in the same room without them trying to kill each other, and in that era, in that period, says an ex-gang member who has since basically moved away from that stuff. The goal of the gang was to create a mafia exclusively composed of racialized people. This detail is important. Why? It is the precursor to the method or way in which Ona has rallied young members of gangs around him in our days. So maybe that's the slogan. That's how he still operates. I don't know. It would make sense, I guess. Remember they said that allegiance with Arab power. Let's keep reading here. Now this looks like it's a snapshot of. Okay, I guess it comes from a government file or something, and they're just saying. I really don't know how to read this, honestly. I just see here it says other names used in Quebec. BMC Import Export. Is that a company or something? They registered? I don't know. I guess it is. I guess it's a registry of company names or something. And we see that it was declared in 2011. I guess it was opened in 2011, and then they closed it in 2016. Is that possible as a registry of companies? Oh, yeah, there you go. According to the registry of companies, Atna Ona was once the owner of a company named BMC Export. And you see he has the BMC there for, what was it? Black Mafia Clique, right? Right. I think that was it. All right. Let's keep reading. Underestimated by many. Wedding, a trafficker of cane worldwide, is known to have links with the cartels, and he's surveilled by the FBI. So he allied himself with a bandit of Montreal. Okay, which the Quebec police rarely speak about, they say. Well, he's been in the news more often these days. Now, the story of the ascension of Ona is one that's been of somebody who was neglected or an underdog, who finally manages to pull his own worth inside the game in secret, according to the police who have experience. Ona is originally from Guinea-Bissau in Africa. On his arrival in Quebec at the age of 15, he did not speak French nor English. So there was a legend that started, a story, I guess, or a legend that was created around him in the last few years. Little by little, the African immigrant, not known by the public, has become a redoubtable chief of gang with a contract of hundreds of thousands of dollars on his head. In the last 2 years, he's been orchestrating a rebellion of gangs against the bikers. Now, I want to just tell you, he's allied with Arab power, and I do know that Gregory Woolley, once upon a time, not too long ago, remember I covered the story of Tony Accurso, the real estate developer who was at the pocket of the mafia a certain time. I think he still owed them money or something, but someone's been burning his businesses, This Italian guys, they've been burning his businesses of his daughter, things like that. Remember I covered that story? There wasn't a lot of interest in that when I was doing it, but I knew there's something behind it. Well, the guy, Tony Accurso, the ones who were burning his place, they were trying to get the money. They were collecting the money back, trying to collect at least. Allegedly, it was Arab power. So then Gregory Woolley went to meet Arab power, and he told them, allegedly, someone asked Gregory Woolley to do a favor for Mr. Accurso. So he went to Arab power and he told them, hands off this guy. You don't touch this guy. And they basically told Gregory Woolley to go F himself and that he's a nobody now or something like that. And a few weeks later, Gregory Woolley gets offed. Makes you think, man. Now, these guys are the friends of Atna Ona, and you're hearing about Atna Ona having a rebellion against the bikers with the gangs. And you know that we heard that allegedly Arab Power sent that kid, or they hired another gang to find the kid that went to burn the bunker of the Hells Angels in Quebec. And was it Frampton? Remember that? So it's like all of it's starting to come together, and it's making a lot more sense who's friends with who and why, you know? Because here you have it, Atnaona orchestrating a rebellion of gangs against the bikers. Let's continue. So he has bounty of a couple of $100,000 on his head. Il est selon plusieurs acteurs du milieu interlope le premier avoir compris que les jeunes. He's the first. Il est selon plusieurs. He's. Give me a second. So he's, according to numerous actors in the underworld, the first one to understand that the young criminals were tired to do the dirty job of organized crime. The majority of who are of Quebec origin or Italian. He instrumentalized this sentiment of injustice to incite a new generation of bandits to become independents or to work for him. Believe numerous members of gangs who want to stay anonymous, you know. Oh God, he was still active in the streets and on the field. So he got a bunch of street creds. I'm just gonna skip this part. Enemy of Silva and the mafia. All the chiefs of gangs have opponents. Atnaona is not an exception. He was a. Let me just catch up with you guys. Anyone says, sorry guys, I didn't read your comments for a long time, and there's like 3 pages. I have to scroll down. I'm just gonna look at the last ones, guys. My apologies. Tried to cane. The Fenty has to have some impact on prices. Wedding was smart enough to corner the powder market. Tupac is not allied with AP. Well, according to these articles what we've been reading, I'm not pulling this out of my butt. You know, they've literally wrote about this. So, and these guys speak to the police. So I'm basing myself on this, you know. I'm going to keep basing on this. If it ever changes, then fine, we'll correct it, you know. But until it comes here, that's all I'm going to do. But, yeah, numerous times they brought this over that they were working together. Maybe they got it wrong, maybe not. But I'm going to stick to this, you know. I don't have any secret or insider information, and I don't ask for it. Because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, you know. Where were we at? So, yes, weddings shipments are pure. 96 holy. Yeah, I think it's too difficult to understand what you guys are talking about. I lost the train of thought. I'm just gonna. DC was in the business allegedly in the late 80s, early 90s. Thank God I never had to deal with Fenty. I probably would have lost somebody. All right. Yeah, I think I'll could just continue reading at this point. Where were we? So all the chiefs of gangs have opponents. Atnaona is not an exception. He was a close friend of David Barberio, considered as the boss of the streets for the mafia, until the conflict erupted between the two men in 2019. Could that have anything to do with why David Barberio was shot in front of his home? Anyways, let's continue. He counts today among his enemies. So we're still talking about Atnaona. So it says he counts today among his enemies Pietro Diadamo. Remember the guy who been accused of running a cane ring, I think twice this year. He got busted in the beginning and then he got busted again. Remember? It was in the Southwest. Well, his name came up and they busted the ring. That guy with the Sicilian clan, part of the, allegedly tied to all those guys. So he says that he counts among his enemies Pietro Diadamo, Stefano Solicito, the chief of gang who became Jean-Philippe Celestin as well. Oh, there you go. Now you got Younes Attaki alias Frero. So here they're clearly enemies. So the guy was definitely right. Now they changed the story. I swear we just read yesterday or the day before they wrote that they were working together. Maybe they no longer work together or something. Maybe I missed something in between. But here they're saying that Younes Attaki, that's the leader of Arab Power allegedly. And what's the other guy? The guy who got killed, Sylvain Cabucci. Sylvain Cabucci, remember he got killed in prison. So one or the two were, maybe there was more than one leader. But allegedly they say this man right here is the leader. So, man, he's got a long list of enemies, right? Look at this. Pietro Diadamo, Stefano Solicito, Jean-Philippe Celestin, Younes Attaki, and he was also against Frédéric Silva as well. Now, they say the numerous murders of close friends of Ona, Franz Louis, Ernst Exantus, and Arsène Monpoint could have signed the end of his link, to the Montreal Mafia, believes the police. Wow, man. Everything, it's crazy, man. This stuff gets really complicated. Okay, next, where are we? The main friend of the main friend of trust of Ona was Christopher Jean Vilsain. Now you remember this guy? He was a rapper, and he got killed. Remember we covered that. There was like war between two gangs, numbered name. The gangs had numbered names, I think, or 2-3 of them. But one of them was Flamehead Boys. I think it was the Flamehead Boys side that killed allegedly killed Mr. Christopher Jean Vilsain. And he was assassinated, say, 14th May, 2024. He was like him, so Mr. Christopher Jean Vilsain was from the same neighborhood in Villeray. Ona could be behind the recent murder attempts on gang boss Markins Villemay in prison. Now it's crazy how many, crazy. We thought, me and you, because we're just guessing here, we're just trying to guess. Nothing is concluded. We guess or we just read what's in front of us. But we were guessing at that point. Remember, Markins Villemay was the guy with the picture with Arab Power. You remember that? Shirtless, walking together. And the cops... Markins Villemay was the guy who I think either he paid for it or either he was there in the plot to go kill the Hells Angel in Ontario. You remember? And then he got arrested in the plot, and I think he's being held in Ontario prison. Okay? And do you remember a few weeks ago, Mr. Greek, Bobby the Greek got killed? And I think a few days later, I'm pretty certain a few days later, we found out Mr. Markins Villemay got shanked in prison in Ontario. Now, what we thought, maybe it was like a full-on revenge by the Hells Angels, because remember, he orchestrated the killing of the Hells Angel. They never forgive. They're going to get their revenge sooner or later, right? Because they were like 2 or 3 people in that plot. And I'm certain one of them already got killed. So Markins Villemay got shanked in prison. We assumed it had to have something to do with that. But Ona's not with the Hells Angels. Here they're saying that it's still a suspicion. They're not saying for sure. But Ona was behind they think he was behind the shanking of Markins Villemay. So, man, this thing gets so freaking convoluted. It's so difficult to keep track of, man. At a certain point, you get confused. Well, I get confused. I've just done too many new stuff. And I never read this stuff after. Everything I'm doing is with you here, live. I'm trying to host this show for you, translate it, and it's like my brain's off, and it's totally different when you're reading it by yourself, and it's like you're studying, you can remember stuff better. But when your mouth has to move and you're speaking at the same time, you're worried about people not getting bored. It's a completely different animal. And once I turn off the stream, I do not go and check anything. I don't go read articles. I literally read them with you. But I do peek. Like, I'll find the articles in advance. I'll say, oh, great, there's one. I save it. And then when it's the time to stream, I'll just, like a guy said the other day, forger freestyles. I literally freestyle, and I read them on the spot with you because I don't want to read them twice anyways. I like to be surprised. What's the point if I already read it? I come tell it to you, We're hanging out together. I'd like to be surprised with you, So I do it like that. But after the fact, I don't read it and try to memorize it or anything, So you probably remember stuff even better than me. You have a fresh mind. You're listening to it for entertainment. Your brain's open. Your mind's open. And you can absorb this stuff. You can probably remember it better than me, So I appreciate people helping me out sometimes. Like, what's his name? Thank you. Just a small correction. I appreciate it. Like, he doesn't have a username. I appreciate that. But he doesn't have a nickname. I don't know how to give you a thanks. But what was it? Are you the same person as earlier? Yeah, I can't find I have to scroll through all the messages. He says, exactly. Just a small correction. Online Arab Power are enemies. Thank you. Also, allegedly, Arab Power were behind the offing of ONA's lieutenant, Christopher Jean Vilsain. I like the article. Exactly. It's probably me who got confused, but I swear I read yesterday, maybe I'm imagining this or maybe I'm hallucinating like the AI, but I could have swore yesterday or the day before, just recently, fresh while I was streaming with you, I could have swore I read that. I could have swore I read that. It's very fresh in my mind. So I'm confused why they wrote that, But I will be more now that I saw this article saying they were enemies and you as well, it's like, yeah, I'm going to lean on this now, Hopefully I don't forget again. Yeah, man, my memory's like that, I have words that I translate sometimes, like blindé. I swear it's like the fifth time I'm asking guys. I guess it means bulletproof, And I know it, and I'll check it's that, and then like a couple of months later I'll forget again, and I know I forgot that. It's really funny how my memory works, man. But yeah, this stuff is crazy, man. Stuff is crazy. Maybe they were friends once, so maybe they were friends before and then they fell off. Who knows, man? Maybe that's why they changed. And even the guys who write this are confused. But me, I'm definitely confused. But I'm doing an effort to remember this one, But the one with the street gang numbers, the guys below at Naona, the other gangs, the sub gangs below, like I forgot the name of the gangs, they are numbers. Those ones I will never remember. I know for a fact my brain refuses to remember gang names with numbers, At that point, I can't remember those guys. But I can remember Jean Vilsain. I can remember, man, if I see the names of the other guys, I'll remember those, But the gang number names, I'm finished. I can't remember. I get too confused, and it's like I don't want to know. But it was a very interesting week. Very interesting, man. Canada's really, is really something, huh? It's something when we have, where is it? Yeah, when you have Kash Patel and the Pam Bondi talking about Canadian traffickers in such a grand light, calling him the Pablo Escobar of modern times, things like that. Obviously, it's not the same level, obviously, but it for our continent, us up north here, America and the U.S. He's when we're talking about tons and tons of cane, and a network like that, and for us, he's our Pablo Escobar, if you know what I mean. But I have to remind you, he's not caught. He's on the run, and now the FBI and RCMP are probably scanning the people who are working at the Newz and checking up their bank accounts, seeing where that payment, how much they got paid for helping Ryan Wedding assassinate his enemy in Colombia. Can't believe they actually helped the guy do that, man. Those guys are nuts, man. Those guys are nuts. But they're lucky they live in Canada. You can get away with anything. If they were in the United States, they'd be in this RICO charge. It would be game over for them. Now, I don't know if they're gonna... I don't know if the FBI can finesse what's it, DJ Academics into this. Can they finesse him for facilitating a transnational offing? I wonder at this point. Crazy, man. Anyways, I don't wish that on you, but man, you asked for it. How reckless of you, man, gotta be able to say no to us at a certain point to wealth and money. You gotta have limits for what you want to do in life, in my opinion. Like, man, I could say, hey, if any of you criminals out there, you gang bosses, whatever, if you want me to promote you and how you say, push you up, make you sound like a good guy, just, send me some funds through Bitcoins. And I'll come on here and I'll say, no, he's not that bad. He's this. Oh, he's actually, I heard good things about the guy, and I could have been doing it like this. Maybe asked a few payments left and right, and as I really need it, I'm really in a desperate situation. Big time. Maybe I should have been doing that, and living a better life. But no, I'd rather end up homeless. Accept my fate than do that, But we live in this modern day age, man. I don't know what to tell you. People will do anything for money, man. You gotta have a limit. Me, I actually need the money. Me, it's a desperate scenario here, But I have to choose between getting closer to homelessness or that. Like I'll accept homelessness. Fuck, screw it. There's a principle. Principle. I would not want to do this. But nowadays, maybe he's maybe I don't know. Maybe the guys who run the website, his mom's dying from something, and maybe he really needs the money. So maybe who am I to judge? Maybe I have no idea. I don't know what the guy is going through. But maybe it's not that simple, and there's a perfect explanation for it. Him and Ryan Weddings were childhood buddies, and we just don't know about it. Anyways, guys, thank you for being here. Have a great evening, and thank you for joining here. I appreciate it. I really appreciate the respectful people in the comments section. I really appreciate it. Like, you're not nitpickers. You're not insulting each other. You're not going at each other. No one's trying to up another person and to call him stupid. It's like I made some few mods here. I think Adam Rogers is a mod. DC is a mod, I believe. If he's not, I'll try to add you. But if you guys see anyone being disrespectful to anyone, remove them. If they have good intentions, keep them. But yeah, because I want to keep this toxic free. I don't want to make this toxic. No saluting gangs and things like that. Nothing that I have against gangs, people like that. But don't salute or promote things like that on the channel. I'm trying to keep this. How you say? Because you do one, you offend someone else, and then it could turn into. They could say, "Oh, my channel's promoting this side, is promoting that side." I'm not promoting none of this, man. None of this is good at all, But I understand poverty, and I understand some people don't have really a choice. I completely get it. This world our society is completely unfair. Some guy made a mistake. He went to prison. He comes out. Now suddenly he can't get a job here. And then his credit is ruined. And suddenly he's applying somewhere else. And they're saying, oh, we're doing a credit check. Sorry, you can't get hired. But how do you want him to fix his credit? How do you want him to get out of this? Oh, you can't hire you. There's just too many cruelty happening, And then on the cover, we're saying, we love people. We're a people company. We're a people this. No, you're not. You're absolutely not. You're treating your employees like crap. You give them absolutely no free time. You're paying them bare minimum. You're increasing the prices, though. And then you say, we love people. You don't love people at all, it's getting too far, man. But we need to be nice to each other here. That's all that's the only thing that I can do. Maybe drop some of my, drop some of my good people here, and we can, be friendly and kind, things like that. I appreciate it. Thank you, Don Vito. Thanks a lot, and for your kind invitation. I appreciate it. And to everybody else, let me give you guys a shout out before I forget. Got Adam Rogers. Shout out to Adam Rogers, Bernita Tom, Zach Mitchell, Chris Hinsley, DC, Don Vito, Mountain Woman, Mr. J. He's nice. Of course he's nice. You know that. And where are we at? Cold. I can't say the D word. You know why? And I can't use the B word at the end either, man. He says, but it's the guy who says, that's my lawyer. And he's laughing. Cold DB. Like ODB. What's up, buddy? And No Name, Mr. No Name. You know, I think it's him, the guy with no name. You can't even point at him. You can't even say who he is. You know, he's a mysterious fellow. We've seen him a few times. Mr. No Name and Brent Fleury. Who else do we got? Hope I didn't miss anyone, man. Will Hildebrand, Wes Dozer, he's not here, but shout out Wes Dozer, shout out Man in the Middle as well. I always forget people, man. Chrome, Heretic Chrome, I think it was. Lourd, shout out to Lourd. Where did I get? Did I miss anybody? I think I got. Oh, Puya Samadi. Puya. And everybody else. And the Silent Bunch. Thank you so much. And Silvio. Silvio just passed by. Silvio. Shout out to Silvio too. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out. And I'll see you guys on the next one. We'll probably get some crazy updates coming soon. You know, this just opened the door for more. It's going to be crazy.